Kaiser Radio.
Covering Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaiser Radio. Kaiser Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaiser Radio.
Now it's 40 in Guyana and right across the Eastern Caribbean, and you're listening to us right here on Kaiser Radio 99.1, 99.5 FM, of course online at KaiserNewsOnline.com, via Facebook page Kaiser Radio, and on YouTube Kaiser Radio. It is the 12th day of June, and I'll take this opportunity to welcome you down to today's edition of the COVID-19 and Elections Watch. And of course, joining us this afternoon is no other than Dr. Yog Mahadio and senior journalist of Kaiser News, Leonard Gildari. Gentlemen, a pleasant Friday afternoon to you all.
And good afternoon. Thank you very much, dear Joshua Van Slightman and the rest of the crew down here at Kaiser Radio. I want to say good day to you. It's a wet day, and of course I want to say welcome right away. It's a very packed day today, and I am going to say good day to you, Dr. Yog Mahadio. I've been asked to go light on you today. Don't mute your phone today, your microphone that is, and that is because I think you and I both agree we're going to come a little later and talk about the little counseling that you and I would have had to take after the traumatic experience of yesterday. So I want to say welcome to you, Dr. Yog Mahadio. In a very short while, we're going to be joined by former Prime Minister of Barbados, Owen Arthur. Now, why is that important? He was the lead observer of the Commonwealth team down in Guyana for the March 2nd elections. And there is some rumblings when it comes to what is happening across the Caribbean here, Commonwealth, CARICOM, and other issues here. And so obviously yesterday you would have seen some statements would have been coming out from Ralph Gonsalves, the Prime Minister of I think it's St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with regards to the elections in Guyana. And this would have seen a backlash of criticisms coming from the coalition. So in a very short while, we are going to be talking to Mr. Owen Arthur with regards to that and other issues when it comes to the relationship between Guyana and the rest of the Caribbean. So good afternoon, Yog. We get right into it in a very short while. I'm going to tell the guys prepare for us to make a connection there with Mr. Arthur within a few moments. Yog, very quickly, good day to you and everybody right across Guyana and wherever you join us from, North America, Canada. Hello to you in the Caribbean, in Europe. A good day to you. Yog?
Good day to you, Leonard. And yes, let me say good afternoon, join with you and saying good afternoon to the Kaiser Radio team, of course, Kaiser Radio management, and our viewers and listeners all across the world. It's a rainy day here in many parts of the country, but, you know, everybody's spirits are ramping up and up because the end of this agony should be over very soon.
Well, that is very optimistic, and I must tell you that this week, tomorrow, is a good day. It's June the 13th, and why is that important in the history of Guyana? That is the day when Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield is supposed to present to the Commission his report with regards to the recount, the national recount of the March 2nd elections, and that recount, you know, would have ended, I think the Sunday. Tomorrow is So we are going to be looking out for that report. Within 3 days, we understand the Guyana Elections Commission is supposed to make a declaration with regards to those figures. So they're supposed to contemplate it and take it from there. Yog, we are going to be discussing that, and I also would want to take this opportunity. We have some surprises, big surprises for our listeners today. That is because we don't sit still here hoping that you're going to join us. We want to give back in a little way, and so I say no further anything with regards to that. But Yoga and myself are going to make some announcements a little later. So stay tuned. In the meantime, very quickly, Yog, what else should we be looking out for during this week here from the Guyana Elections Commission when it comes to elections 2020?
It is expected that Mr. Lowenfield would have completed, if not, would be completing, if not having completed his report already. Remember, a couple of days now, we would have been speaking that we hope Mr. Lowenfield would act with the same alacrity, the same speed that he acted on March 13 in using Mingo's fraudulent declaration to make his report. Remember, that report would not have been considered by GCOM. So we're hoping Mr. Lowenfield will get his act right. We do know, and the order does contemplate for the CARICOM observers mission report to also be released, whether that would be released to the public first, to CARICOM first, or to GCOM first. But GCOM is not obliged to, according to the order, of course, is not obliged to include CARICOM report into its into its reckoning and into its considerations, of course. But the report is required to be tabled. So it's interesting to see that from across the Caribbean, Leonard, that the CARICOM leaders and former leaders are standing up and speaking out. And I think that it's also important to know the attacks and personal attacks that we have been heaping upon these distinguished persons.
Absolutely, Yog. And so it is important that we continue to pay it. One of the big things that is going to come out from the deliberations this week is a question over those observations. The coalition, the coalition is paying very close attention to the observations, which they say should be making a big part or should be playing a big role in the entire contemplation of the report. Whether the GCOM chair will be paying attention to this, whether it will play a good part, a big part, or whether it would serve part of an elections petition, that remains to be seen. We're keeping our fingers crossed and see where we go from there. So right now we've been joined on air here from Mr. Owen Arthur. How are you, sir? All the way from Barbados.
How are you?
Pretty good. You're on air here at Kaicho Radio 99.1, 99.5 with myself, Leonard Gildari, and Dr. Yog Mahadi as my co-host. And I want to say welcome to...
Pleasure to meet you all, gentlemen.
Yes, thank you very much. I hope that you're having good weather. We have very nice wet weather here in Guyana. What's it like in Barbados?
Well, we're having some rains as well. I have the tendencies of a basic farmer. And I must say that the rains are greatly appreciated.
Yes, we had some very dry weather early this year, and so the farmers, the rice farmers especially, they were praying for the rains, and we have some rains now. Let's hope. In some parts of Guyana, they're reporting the floods, like in the Region 9, the border areas with Brazil, they're reporting some floods. So I want to tell you a little about Owen Arthur. He was born in 1949, very young man, Barbadian politician who was Prime Minister between 6th of September 1994 to 20th of January 1999. And between...
No, after 2008, sir.
Yes, well, it goes on. So until 2008, to date, he was the longest serving Bajan Prime Minister. He was the leader of the opposition in Barbados from the 4th of August 1993 to 6th of September 1994, and from 23rd of October 2010 to 24th of February 2013. Thank God for Wikipedia, Yog, and thank God for that, sir. So, sir, welcome on to this program right away, and I know that you're very busy, man. Thank you for joining us. Well, of course, we look in elections 2020. You're here in your capacity as the former Bajan leader. And you would have also led the Commonwealth Observers team to Guyana. For the record's sake, we're going to ask you a little before I ask my co-host to get into play here. What did you observe? I know that there would have been a report, but for the Guyanese who don't know, could you tell us a little about elections 2020 in Guyana?
Well, I led a Commonwealth team that was drawn from some of the most experienced people in electoral matters from across the Commonwealth. We went to Guyana in advance of the election itself, and we stayed on for the count. I had private meetings, private audience with your president and his prime minister and with the leaders of all of the parties. My team met with leaders of all of the parties. We met with the institutions of civil society. we met with the leadership of CARICOM, we met with the private sector, and everybody that was, we think, in a position to give us a perspective. I must tell you that the perception that we came across with was that everyone was pleased with the preparations for the election. And we who were in the Commonwealth Observer Group had every good reason to be proud of what we were being told, because the Commonwealth, under its provision of technical assistance, had provided Guyana with 2 experts, highly trained experts on electoral matters, and they were there well in advance of the election. They helped to develop these and fine-tune your electoral processes. They were there on the day itself, and I am sure that one is still there, rendering assistance to GCOM. So that the Commonwealth Observer team, of which I was a member, we had access to 2 experts who helped to put your system in place. And they gave us the fullest confidence that the system they were helping to devise and to oversee was within the high standards of the Commonwealth. I must also say that all of the groups that we met with in advance of the day of the election itself expressed the fullest confidence in the election as well. On the election day, the Commonwealth team spread across all 10 regions. A small team from the Secretariat, the Commonwealth Secretariat, and I stayed in Region 4, and they spent the day going from polling station to polling station. I must also therefore place on record that at no station that I attended in the presence of the Commonwealth team was there any concerns about fraudulent election. Everyone said how well it was being organized and how everything was in good order. Having myself contested elections in Barbados, I would also have to tell you that the arrangements for your elections are far more scrupulous than those in Barbados. Everyone coming to the polling station had to show an ID card. There were 1 or 2 instances, but no more than that, where persons did not have the ID card but were able to show other proof of who they were. You had every station manned by agents of every party, in addition to the officials, and they were identified to all in the polling station. They took their ID card to the person in charge at the station, who showed it to everyone, was given a ballot, which was stamped. They went and voted, came back and showed the stamp at the back of the ballot. But then they had to dip their thumb in the ink. So that the notion that people voted in Guyana who were not entitled to vote under such rigorous arrangements, I think is a little strange, because the voting took place in the presence of everyone who had an interest. I didn't only observe the counts. I didn't only observe the voting itself, but I went. My team and I went all across Region 4 on the day of the election. And at no station we attended were there any concerns about the manner in which the elections had been prepared for. In the evening, I also went to the aquatic center that was closest to the place where I was staying. And I had the opportunity, again, to watch a very rigorous process, namely the count. Every vote was properly counted. If there was any issue about the mark being too close to the line, the returning officer consulted with everyone, and they were only allowed to make a record of the vote if everyone would say that it was a valid vote. At the end of the process, and again, this was very remarkable, in Barbados, where the votes are not counted at the polling station, they're taken to someplace else. In Guyana, the votes were counted at the polling station itself, and the results were certified in the presence of everyone who was in the polling station, including the representatives of every party. So therefore, I left that experience satisfied that the people of Guyana could rely upon the numbers contained in the certified statement of polls to provide an accurate and incontrovertible record of the conduct of the elections. And I was therefore a bit surprised that there could have been issues after, because it said when I was there leading the Commonwealth team, there were no issues raised in advance by anyone we met that there was any fraudulent processes being built into the system. The Commonwealth experts that we provided to the GCOM never brought any such things to our attention. In fact, they would be, I think, greatly offended to hear now that someone could claim that they had to preside over a fraudulent system. But the counting itself was so scrupulous undertaken and also so carefully certified that I thought that Guyana was going to proclaim itself proud that it had held a fair and free elections, and that could tell the people, despite whatever divisions that we may have on our partisan loyalties, let us accept these results and go forward to a more prosperous future. So that I happen to have been there, so I speak not just from the perspective of hearsay. I was there with a full team that went across Guyana. On the morning after the elections, our team came back in and we were debriefed. We held meetings, also joint meetings with the other teams at the Carter Center and so on. So we didn't only rely upon our own observations and our own wisdom. And therefore, I thought that we were in a position to speak about the credibility of the election from a position of certainty.
Yes.
The team has a report for the benefit of the Commonwealth. We were there as representatives of the Commonwealth. There's a Commonwealth Ministerial Action Group, as you know, that makes decisions in respect of the manner in which elections are conducted. I would imagine that Guyana is on the agenda for peace time. I hope that things do not reach a stage where Guyana has to be before we might in an anti-imperial way, because it is important that Guyana gets on with its business. I also, let me just put in the first statement, please. I was a Prime Minister of Barbados for 14 years, and I made sure that I called the people of Barbados to feel that I had to speak to people of Guyana with respect. Whenever I heard of any incidents where Guyanese were treated bad or their airport, I told people do not do that in our name or in my name. And I made sure that Guyanese were able to come to Barbados and live and work and feed their family. So they felt it was the right thing to do. I believe in the spirit of integration. And I also feel therefore that Guyanese should be. And what is happening now, quite frankly, is holding up Guyana, and properly so too, to being a kind of an international laughing stock. There are countries that are continental in size, that have elections with many parties, but they're able to announce the result of the election the same night. And Guyana shouldn't find itself in a position where now, months after an election is held, observed by people, every effort made to make it free and fair, now find yourselves in this situation where you begin to look as though you want to become a rogue state.
And you use the word rogue state there, PM. And I want to ask you, you were in the Ashman's building during the early days of the counting, a few days after elections. What were some of the things that you saw there? I think you were in the room with when the foreign minister would have gone in there. What was some of your thoughts in your head?
Well, we went to assembled in a meeting. We did not expect to encounter anybody at the political level who felt that they had a right to corral us, to tell them, come there, we need to see them, and for them to tell us what to do. I was very shaken that the foreign minister thought she could do it, first of all. But then she opened up herself in a way that I thought was quite unfortunate. She said she summoned us because she wanted to do the right thing. Now, that is the kind of thing that you do to your children on their way to school, or when they are behaving in a disorderly fashion, or all I can say that is based upon the doctrine of anticipated wrongdoing. That we were likely as serious people to do the wrong thing, and I just said, Madam, but are you doing the right thing? And then she threatened to take away my credentials. I was not going to allow that to happen, if you could understand me, because I was not there in my own capacity. But I was sent there to represent the Commonwealth of Nations with the agreement of the head of the Commonwealth and the Commonwealth countries, and with the knowledge and with the understanding and approval of the government of Guyana. And this business that the minister could just come to a meeting and say that she's going to take away the credentials and so on, would suggest that she feels like she has an authority that she really does not have, or that her concept as to what is the right thing could be different from what we, the observers, said was the right thing, and that was very unfortunate.
Did they explain, did the minister explain to you on what basis your credentials could be taken away, or the credentials of the observers?
I didn't give her a chance to do that so that she can have back mine. Because I didn't feel that she was in order to tell us that she can take them away, because she did not in her individual capacity credentialed me to be in Guyana. The government of Guyana, the government of the people of the Republic of Guyana gave me credentials to be there, and she didn't qualify it by saying, but our foreign minister may come to a meeting and tell you that your credentials have been taken away.
Mm-hmm. Correct. Prime Minister, if I may, Yog here. If you can kindly share your thoughts on the most recent happenings. Two questions I have there. One is that the recount is over, Prime Minister. Every Guyanese and you and everybody in this world know what those numbers are. Yet, everybody is delaying and the goalposts are being shifted. So your take on that, sir. And the second question, sir, is Mr. Raul Gonzalez would have made a comment yesterday, day before yesterday, and every time you leaders make a comment on Guyana, politicians conveniently forget your message and they try to beat up the messenger. What's your comment on both of those things, sir?
Well, let me deal with the first matter first. As a leader of a political party, I had the privilege and the honor to lead my party into 5 elections. On 3 of those occasions, my party won. On 2 occasions, my party lost. When my party won, I accepted it with gratitude and grace. When my party lost, I accepted it, the will of the people, and accepted it for it. I felt that I was doing so in a long tradition of Caribbean leaders. Barbados has been led by Grantley Adams and Errol Barrow, who knew what it was to lead political parties and get the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. And they have taken the defeats despite having this tremendous standing in the country. In Jamaica, you've had national heroes of the caliber of Norman Manley and Alexander Bustamante, who know what it was to lead political parties and to be accepted by the people and rejected at elections. And all across the Caribbean, we've had that tradition of leaders having to accept with grace defeat and accept with joy victory. I do not think that a leader of Guyana should see himself departing from this tradition. It is about accepting the will of the people. And if the people in a free election say that you have won, you sign. If they'll say, we don't want you to win, they'll sign. And there's no graceful way, and I think this might be a part of it, there's no graceful way to lose in public. You have to face your friends, you have to face your colleagues, your family. It can be very painful, but you have to feel that it's not a personal rejection, that the people have expressed a will, and that they're not condemning you by not voting for you, but they're saying that we want somebody else to govern us. So that I think that is how I approached it, and that's how I feel that people should approach it. That's how the leaders in the Caribbean have approached it. So in respect of this matter, you're talking about the second matter was about hello?
Mr. Ralph Gonzalez.
Oh, Mr. Ralph Gonzalez is perfectly in good order. People do not seem to understand that there are instruments of governance that on which our relationship in CARICOM as sovereign countries are based. We operate with each other within the context of the revised Treaty of Chagarama to create a single market and a single economy. There are other instruments, however, that bind us. in 1997, 1998, Caribbean leaders, of whom I was then one, agreed that there should be a thing called a charter for civil society. We were not only conscious that we were building a regional economy, but we also were building a regional society. And that regional society had to be bound and governed by the best precepts of democracy and good governance, because we feel that you get a dividend from good governance. And therefore, we bound ourselves to the practice of good governance as a regional method by signing a charter of civil society. And under this charter, Caribbean governments commit that we will have free and fair elections. So that when Gonzalez was speaking, he was speaking in the context of the fact that any departure from the practice and principles of fair and free elections is an infringement on the charter of civil society that we have signed. And it binds Barbados, it binds Guyana. And therefore, for someone to attack Ralph Gonzalez saying that CARICOM could not stand to see an election stolen because he was speaking in a generic way, it may even have specific applications in this manner. But anyone who says that does not understand what binds us. And that he was perfectly right to say that. And to be castigated in this way is quite unfortunate. I believe also that, there's certain protocols that should obtain. Your leader sits in the council with other Caribbean leaders, and they have sometimes to exchange sharp views, sometimes in public, but more often they restrain themselves to have these things in caucus. It can't be that someone at the level of Mr. Harmon thinks that he has the authority to unleash the kind of vitriolic attacks that he unleashes on Caribbean leaders. He is not a Caribbean leader. And your leader should tell Mr. Harmon that he's out of order and he's out of place. In a few weeks, a Guyanese leader will go and sit in council with other leaders of the Caribbean. And he can't go there and face them if somebody in Guyana is tearing them to shreds and lambasting them. How can that be? How can your leader sit in council in good faith with other leaders of the Caribbean when somebody from his party is trashing the reputation of other leaders? So it can't be allowed. And Mr. Harmon has to be told that he's quite out of order. And that behavior is just simply not tolerable in a society that has a charter of civil society. It can't be. But even if we didn't have the charter, I do not believe that it is Mr. Harmon's place to feel that he has the prerogative, without being a leader, to talk to leaders in the way that he is. He can't be calling upon the Prime Minister of Barbados to, in public, lambaste a Prime Minister of another Caribbean country. Who gives him that authority? And where would it go as CARICOM if a Barbadian Prime Minister is going to, on the say so only of Joe Harmon, going to public and says, I am here to bring out a man called Prime Minister of Gonzalez of St. Vincent. We will then devolve into we become the theater of the absurd.
Yeah. So, Prime Minister, what are you and other leaders in the Caribbean now anticipating? Not in terms of the result. I mean, we don't know that as yet in terms of the official declaration that has to come from Claude Singh and GCOM. But what are you advising Guyanese at this stage, and what are you looking forward to?
I am advising Guyanese that a prosperous future can await Guyana. But it depends upon Guyana seeking itself to seek the dividends of good governance. Guyana cannot benefit from having itself portrayed as a pariah state or rogue state. And there are consequences that would ensue. In where the Commonwealth is concerned, there is a Harare Declaration. My group has made a representation by way of report to CMIG. CMIG will meet and decide if a country is carrying out its electoral affairs in accordance with the Harare Declaration, and you can get expelled are suspended or expelled from the Commonwealth. Now, there are consequences. As I tell you, by being a member of the Commonwealth, it's not just a political act. You are beneficiaries of technical and other assistance. The Guyanese elections were conducted with technical assistance from the Commonwealth. And you could become a pariah state and you'd be suspended from this. You could be if there's any attempt to falsify good evidence that you have falsified elections. In CARICOM, again, Ralph is letting you know that a result that is incontrovertible, a result that is incontrovertible must be respected. If there are issues, then you have to seek the relief of the court. But if you go ahead and seek not to follow those processes, Guyana could be suspended from CARICOM, and Guyana, if it came to that, could also be expelled from CARICOM. Those would be tremendous decisions that would not be interlikely, but Guyana has to be aware of a number of things. Guyana is one of the principal beneficiaries of the provisions of the Caribbean Single Market and Single Economy. I think people would agree that you have benefited more from the provision for your citizens to move and work in other Caribbean countries than any other country. You're one of those key suppliers of agricultural commodities and you stand to benefit under the JAG-DOE initiative, right? I led the Caribbean team of Caribbean businessmen down to Guyana to help them to invest in 1,000 square miles of European Union under the CSME. Now, with all that, you could put at risk. Guyana also benefits from the fact that every Caribbean heads of government conference, Caribbean heads issue a statement. The statement that they issue is to proclaim the strong support and reinforce the strong support for Guyana's territorial sovereignty and integrity in the face of a claim by Venezuela for 2/3 of your land. So CARICOM stands by Guyana and stands by Guyana on a matter of fundamental importance to the people of Guyana. Now, I am not in a position to know what would happen if Guyana is suspended, but it will become, I think it would be very difficult for CARICOM to have its headquarters in a country that is not a member of CARICOM. And there are a lot of issues that will go with that, I suppose, would have, I hope it never comes to that. But those are the implications of not having a free and fair election. So I acknowledge there are other countries, of course, that will do what they want to do. The United States, I thought, has already taken the unprecedented action of having its Secretary of State speak to the matter. Canada, European Union, others, United Kingdom, you have also spoken. And I don't think that Guyana would feel that it could easily withstand the ire of the entire global community if it seeks to have that ire expressed in terms of sanctions at the economic level or other levels. I don't think so, and this is not to say that they should cover, but that you should understand that the world has watched this. And the world has been there all along. We held joint meetings with the European Union. We held joint meetings with the United States government, with Canada, and others, United Kingdom. And I must tell you that it is not a matter that would be taken lightly. And that if in fact there has been a count that is incontrovertible, it would be well advised for people in Guyana on all sides, and apparently almost all people have already done so, to accept the result. If there are issues that have to be addressed by way of a petition, and the law provides for that, let those be adverted to. But in all matters, let Guyana be a country that, in the eyes of the global community, is respectful of the rule of law.
Thank you, sir. Leonard?
Yes, thank you very much, dear PM. And I want to bring you along another route, sir. One of your own countrymen, John Beale, recently reportedly said in the media that some Caribbean leaders view President David Granger of Guyana as he's been viewed as a sanctimonious gangster. Is this your opinion too, sir?
Well, I had the good fortune when I was in Guyana to meet with all your political leaders. I was meeting Mr. Granger for the first time. It's a very colorful term because Mr. Granger does, in fact, connotes the appearance of a gentleman who is very, very stately. His bearing is not of a man who is lascivious or have a large appetite or whatever else. So, quite sanctimonious and true. I can't speak about his gangster behavior because I thought he was a man of modesty and a man of that and respects the law. On election day, I had the opportunity to go across the river with my team, and I went into the village where Mr. Granger lives. And I walked away from that impression that Mr. Granger was, in fact, a simple, modest man who was anxious to carry out his responsibilities in a manner that we accredit his class. So that Mr. Beale has used language that has not fallen from my lips, but it is for Mr. Granger, not for me to prove that he is not truthful.
And you, sir, the former PM of Barbados, has been described as a good friend of Bar Jagdeo, and hence your judgment may be clouded in some of the statements that you would have been making. How you would respond to that?
May I correct that, sir? One of the duties that I had in Guyana was to observe the election. Those duties required me to observe all aspects of the election, including attending rallies. I attended a rally of Mr. Jagdeo's party, and Mr. Jagdeo came and greeted me, and that was captured in the photo. I also attended a rally the same night of Mr. Granger's party. I saw Mr. Granger dancing and took his wife to the podium and so on. I was greeted by Mr. Carl Greenwich, who I know very well because he was a Minister of Finance. Regrettably, there was no photograph of me being greeted by Mr. Carl Greenwich, although there was, and he is my friend, and I served with him, and I know him very well. But there was one of me being greeted by Mr. Jagdeo. I am a friend, I hope, and I would have sought to show that to my friend. I'm a friend of the people of Guyana. I did not pick and choose. And I resent people seeking to want to pick and choose for me in order to create a false political narrative.
With regards to the CARICOM, our relationship with the CARICOM, the headquarters of CARICOM is in Guyana, sir. I want to ask you whether this, let's assume, and we're looking at scenarios here now, that the coalition does not accept the results if it goes the other way next week as being declared by the Guyana Elections Commission. How would CARICOM view this, and what do you believe should be the state of play if it has been ruled such by the Guyana Elections Commission?
Well, as I said, I am not a lawyer, but if the government does not want to accept the results, but also wants to stay in office, because that is what would be the practical implication, then the CARICOM would have to make a decision as to whether Guyana would have to be suspended or not if the government wants to stay in office, or if the government refuses to allow the results to be declared. But again, I'm getting involved here now in some legal issues that I may not be fully competent. I've never had this experience before, but I know for sure that a country could be suspended from CARICOM if you did not comply with the Charter for Civil Society. And that's what we won't come to that. It would, as I said, it could have very significant consequences.
Is CARICOM, the rest of the leaders, current and former, deeply worried as to whether this situation in Guyana could probably spill over to other areas? We would have been paying close attention to what would have been transpiring in Suriname with their elections, and there were some fears of that spilling over. Is that a fear of our Caribbean leaders? I
am not now, because I'm a former leader, involved in the ordinary discussions with the leadership of the CARICOM countries, and therefore I'm not in a position to comment as to what they are discussing or not discussing. I would know that CARICOM, as in general, would rather not be the center of political controversy of this kind. That the leaders took it upon themselves to bring a delegation to Guyana to try to help to leave this matter up front. I don't think that they would have been happy, and I can't speak for them, but I don't think they would have been happy how they had to leave Guyana without having, as leaders, to fulfill the mission upon which they came. And there's no graceful way by which you can be put down as a leader in public. I have not been in touch with them, but I do know that the leaders of CARICOM, as a class, would rather see free and fair elections. We just had a situation in St. Kitts Nevis, where a government in office won most of the seats. And there was no question about that. Guyana and Suriname, I think, raised issues because we are not talking about it now, but they sit upon some of the world's largest reserves of oil and gas. And that makes them of strategic importance, not just for the Caribbean, but for people who have vested interest in what is the stability of the global oil and gas market. And that is why there are aspects to this that go beyond CARICOM. And I am not in a position to elucidate as to where that may lead. But I hope that out of this will come a settlement that would allow Guyana to go on to a more prosperous future, which we all want for it.
And sir, with regards to the acceptance, everybody has signed on, the stakeholders have signed on to the acceptance of the results of the recount. The president of Guyana, David Grangers, said that he is going to accept the results. Would you be very surprised next week if there's a declaration by our Guyana Elections Commission and the coalition does not accept the results?
And I think that it would mean that Mr. Granger would have to himself consider his place as the head of the coalition if he is saying something in public. But his members do not respect him to the extent of honoring what he is saying. I think that would be the first implication. I find it almost impossible for them to feel that can be done. If there's an acceptance of results by everyone, including the head of the coalition, it would seem that they would be tantamount to a coup in his party for him not to have his verdict accepted by the men he leads. And that would, I think, bring a twist to this issue that would be unusual, and that would have implications for the future of Guyana. May I say also, sir, that, I met with the number of all the parties in Guyana, and what I found very, very impressive was that the young people in the other, they call them the minor parties, had a view of life that was so refreshing. I believe that in due course, Guyana is going to get away from this hardened artery of this bipartisan surveillance that has been its history. But some of those young people who express themselves in this election will choose social media, try to build alliances that are free of long-standing partisan tribal instincts and build a better Guyana. And while this may be a temporary hiccup and hiatus, I saw a future for Guyana and its young people that could be different from its past. So I hope they can get past this and get to that future politically as well. And they were highly intelligent, very progressive, and they were not carrying the political baggage of a recent adversarial history.
I'm not sure if you have any questions for the Prime Minister at this point in time.
Well, sir, no question per se, just an observation that, I know that a lot of vitriol will follow this interview that we have had with you. So let me apologize on behalf of the right-minded Guyanese for any vitriol. It's a lot of us, yours truly too, sir, we have been calling it the way we see it. We have no concern about who it is that shapes the government as much as the rule of law and the truth and the will of the electorate must be observed. And so that's just my comment, sir.
Sir, you must forgive me. I spent 34 years in the pit of politics in Barbados. The having to face vitriol is first nature for those who've had to be in the forefront of politics. And if I am subject to vitriol from folks in Guyana, it's par for the course. And I would be very disappointed if some of the barbs that have been sharpened at others are not no sharpened at me. I would feel that and in some way deprived and deserving of better. Because I can sense that there's an atmosphere that you are to be intimidated and made to cover by those who don't want to accept what you are saying. I respect people's right to express a point of view. I respect their right also to attack me if they don't let me point of view, but it's not going to cause me to cover and to go under stone. No, I'm not going to do that. So that fear not for me. It is well with my soul.
We probably got to ask him for protection here in Guyana because he said, fear not for me. But I want to ask you, PM, let's assume, have you been paying close attention to the performance of our GCOM chair, very experienced High Court judge? Have you been paying close attention to the chair? What are your opinion or impression of her performance?
Well, I have not been in a position to isolate her performance. I sense that she's a gracious, a lady of a lot of graciousness. I sense that she would rather want to do what is right because I didn't see in her, from the limited amount that I saw in her, a person who would want to descend into things that are wrong. She is obviously under a lot of pressure. Part of the pressure is that she holds the balance of power in Guyana as the fifth person, or she's the seventh person in a seven-person commission, and she could hold the decisive. She would hold the decisive vote. I think she's also aware that the rest of the world are upon her.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and that matters to her. And I think that you will find that perhaps to be a saving grace. Her reputation is going to matter to her too.
Yes.
And I want to ask you this before Yoke steps in here. Sir, if the GCOM chair delivers a declaration that is different from the recount that we have on hand, what the recount would have brought to the fore, which is that the People's Progressive Party is leading and therefore has taken the presidency, would you be surprised to a contrary decision by the GCOM chair?
No, I would be respectful of her and wait for her to give a factual account of the basis upon which she made the decision. Because obviously she would have had to make that decision on the basis of evidence, and she was a judge, contrary to the evidence that was presented to her. I don't know that there was ever a case in her professional career as a judge where she ever made a judgment on the basis of the facts other than those that were presented in the case. So I don't think that a lady of official temperament would stray into such dangerous waters.
Thank you.
Over to
PM,
you.
Just quickly, there has been a lot of talks in the incumbent camp, but not from President Granger. There has been a lot of talk by the camp that these elections should be nullified by the chairman of GCOM. What would be your comment to that, sir?
I didn't hear that.
There's been a lot of talk in the incumbents camp that these elections should be nullified. In other words, they are calling on the chairman to not make a declaration. What would be your comment to that, sir, if that were to happen?
Well, the declaration has to be made upon the basis of the recount. As Ralph said, if there were issues concerning irregularities, that would have to be subject of petition. Mm-hmm. And I think those two things are separate.
Yes, because PM, I just want to share this with you. Indeed, our Constitution gives an exclusivity to the High Court to listen to or to investigate matters relating to an election. But of course, there has been the political positioning of certain persons. PM, there is just, if you don't mind me asking you this, sir, I hope I'm not putting you on a spot, but there seems to be
No, you're not.
a cognitive dissonance between members of a political party and the head of the list. In this case, Mr. Granger has not been making any other statements, yet persons have been making their own statements, senior persons within the party. And our fear is that the persons who are following these senior political leaders will, of course, be in a position where they're not going to be prepared to accept the results. What would you say to the people, sir, forgetting the leaders aside?
Well, I believe that it would be, if Mr. Granger does not agree with what his colleagues are doing and he feels that it is wrong, it will be a test of Mr. Granger's character. And we will know sooner or later what that character says. It is obvious that there are people in every political institution who have different views as to how things should be approached. But if Mr. Granger is a strong leader, and what is being urged upon him is a wrong thing, then his thing as a strong leader should come true. And he will have to agree to live with the consequences if the people in his party don't want him to do what he thinks is the right thing to do. You see, I can only speak about Mr. Harman and Mr. Owen Arthur and others from a relatively safe distance.
And I thought you was giving us some protection there with the barbs. Mr. Arthur, Mr. Arthur, I want to ask you, sir, there's a question that is coming in via WhatsApp here to us, and they ask us to ask you this. My question to Mr. Owen Arthur, what damage do you think that the coalition has caused Guyana with the international community?
Well, I don't think the damage cannot be repaired. It has held up Guyana before the international community as a country in which there are elements, and I make that point, that are prepared to fight the international community on a matter that the international community feels that it has the right position on, that is fundamental to good governance in its country. I don't think that the whole international community, and I certainly don't think that the Guyanese are bad people. There is an argument here that there are elements in Guyana that may want bad things to be done. But Guyana's reputation can be tragic from this. I mean, the absurdity of this is this. That you have continental-sized countries that have elections and the results are declared the very night. The next day, America know who's the president the next day. Yes. In Guyana, quite frankly, and this is the irony of it, the recount apparently will bear the same results as the statement of polls. It means that if the statement of polls had been used as valid, certified by all observers, that the results of the elections in Guyana could have been declared the very night. Because the truth of the matter is that the political parties had the agents at the polling stations and that they were in a position to know who had won the election on the very night. So that I don't believe that the image of Guyana will be so tarnished that it can't recover from it, but that there will be those who recognize that there are elements in Guyana who believe that you can trifle with an election, and that trifle it in a way that that will enable you to stand defiant in the face of international public opinion, and that they will wonder on what caused you to feel that you can do that. Because the risk that Guyana faces in all this is that Guyana faces the risk of, because of the behavior of some people, being seen as a rogue state.
Mm-hmm. And how would you respond, sir, to criticisms over no permission being given to Carterson to come here?
Well,
to return, rather.
You know that you really can't, in today's world, hide the news. And anybody who goes out in today's world, that's an exercise in futility. You can't stop what is happening from Guyana to being known all across the world. So it is a folly of foolish minds to feel that you can bar the Carter Center from observing when there are other ways by which they can observe. I am not in Guyana. I am still the chairman of the Commonwealth Observer Group. The Observer Group is still in place, and we are observing the elections, and we are communicating to each other about it. But we were not barred from there, but we are still in contact with what is happening. You can't say today's world, believe me, stop information flows. It's like things not being mills, and people who feel that they can get through by doing those things they think are just being ridiculous.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So,
Yes.
I know we have taken a lot of your time, sir, and thank you so very much. But my last question to you, you did express...
I'm sure that I will be able to have some Guyanese pepper pot when I come to Guyana.
Anytime you come.
Thank you.
Sorry,
you did make...
I need a proper Guyanese pepper pot. I haven't had a good one for a long time, sir.
But you can bring the flying fish. Is it the flying fish that they have over there, Yog?
I don't think that your Guyanese appetites are attuned to how to appreciate flying fish.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
Pepper pot. So I laid that as a basic requirement.
Well, our pepper pot is better than their flying fish, but you have a question on the table there.
Yeah. Sir, you did voice your opinion with regards to going forward, and you did make a comment around this, but a direct question: what is Prime Minister Owen Arthur's view to the response to the claims that are being made that migrant and dead persons voted in these elections, and that's how the PPP won?
But sir, as I said, I observed the conduct of the election in Region 4 as part of the team. The team that I led in Guyana was spread all over the country. We were debriefed. We debriefed them. We also had meetings with all the other observer groups. We certainly did not get any report of any such claims. I must also tell you, and I'm not trying to hear to be adversarial, that I had private meetings with your president and Mr. Nagamutu. I had meetings with the leadership of all of the political parties, and I did not hear of these kind of things in advance. But again, I don't want to get part of it. But I seem to remember that the ruling party had the majority of people in control of GCOM. And it would seem to me that it would be an astonishing thing for political institutions to have control of the process by which an election is being put in place. For that political party to so have the election arranged to lose the election by having the process controverted, by having dead people and other people made to vote. If I was associated with the coalition, the only thing that I would not want to say is that we were in control of the process by which the election was held. We controlled every facet of it. But at the end of the day, some force, a mysterious force, came in and took over the process that we were fully in control of, including the chairmanship of GCOM, and caused it to be so manipulated to our disadvantage. It would almost suggest, quite frankly, that the people who allowed that to happen to themselves were foolish people. And I don't want to accuse Mr. Granger and Mr. Hammond and others of being dangerous. I would therefore, I very circumspect in these matters, but I would rather not attribute the malice that which can best be explained by ignorance.
So I thank you very much. Any other questions there, Yog? My question to the Mr. Arthur is the coalition opposition. Let me see. If the coalition, yes, there's a question here. Just I know that you're very busy, but the people.
No, I said this is the last time I'm going to speak in this matter, so And I was in Guyana. I observed,
Right.
and I was happy to have the opportunity to be trusted by the Commonwealth to be there. So it's not a problem. Go ahead, sir.
So I want to ask you, because in the meantime, while we preparing the pepper pot for you, sir, is if the coalition in opposition approaches the CARICOM community for help in the next 5 years, you believe that CARICOM would accept them with open arms?
I really feel that there's a generosity of spirit among Caribbean people that we live and let live. This will pass. And there are a lot of people in Guyana who have kids and kin in other Caribbean countries. I take a particularly strong interest in Guyana's affairs now as when I was a Prime Minister, because a large part of your population who is of our pigmentation, they came from Barbados. And that's our kids and kin. And I really feel that the political parties in Guyana know the spirit in the Caribbean. We go through adversities and we pick up the pieces and go forward. And this too, they pass. And the things that have happened in Guyana, that those things passed. The things that happened in the Caribbean that were unfortunate, that passed. Grenada had a revolution and a leader was killed, but we picked up the pieces and passed. So the good-natured spirit of the people of the Caribbean and the ability to deal with adversity with strength, they prevail. And that the people of Guyana will work above this too. And it is, in all of this, there's an aspect of what we're not speaking about. But it would be good if the children of Africa and the children of India could live in another country as one. As one.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, sir.
So thank you very much there, sir. If you were given an opportunity to assure the people of Guyana, to advise the government, to advise the stakeholders, what would Owen Arthur, former Prime Minister of Barbados, and of course we can't take off a cap from being the chief observer for the Commonwealth, what would you say to the stakeholders, the leaders, the opposition, everybody in Guyana at this time?
Well, this election will lead to a government that can be a strong, robust government, because it has still two strong parties that will constitute your assembly. And it is not a one-party state where Guyana will be under dictatorship. It will be an institution where I believe that any wise government will understand that because of the narrowness of the victory, that it has to accommodate what in my career in Barbados politics, I used to call the politics of inclusion. And I still believe in that. And I feel that once there is that spirit, I don't think that you should have a government of just a natural unity for its own sake, because there are consequences for losing elections. But that the spirit, once all this is over, that is almost 50% of the people who support either parties in Guyana, that you evolve an approach to your governance that respects the fact that there is that strength of opinion on all sides. Mm-hmm. And that Guyana has so much that can be going for it, that the people who win and the people who lose could feel that all can be at the table, and that is enough there for everybody. And you really have now to give yourself the chance to prepare a prosperous future for Guyana in a way that you have not done in the past. And this is what the people of Guyana should call on both parties to do. Give us a chance to enjoy the benefit and the product of what we have been endowed with, and that will enable us to enjoy a better life than we have had previously. Mm-hmm. And that is why I think we should be telling the political parties that, okay, the things are close. We accept that. We don't have a one-party state. We have two strong parties in the assembly. Let them come and do what. And I don't expect the opposition to be in love with the government or vice versa, but that they have to be in love with the people of Guyana.
Yes, well, I do thank you very much for that. Former Prime Minister of Barbados, Owen Arthur. I want to say a couple of
And
things to you. Yes, go ahead.
and before you go, let me be immodest to tell you that I make pepper pot for my friends at Christmas.
You do?
And yes, I do. And yes, and I was once made a pepper pot for a friend party that he was having, and a Chinese couple came and said that, but Barbados do not know about making pepper pot, and because I fancy myself not as a chef, but as a cookist.
A
So I do
cookies?
pepper pot myself, and that they took a tape of when I turned the tape in pepper pot, they were maybe just not enraptured, but pleasantly pleased.
Well, I would like to say a couple of things to you. One, Guyanese people make the best pepper pot. Two, we have the best rums in the world, right? We have the best rums in the world.
Excuse me, sir, it is so alleged.
No. And third thing, I must tell you that Rihanna, one of her parents is from Guyana. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
And you had one, sir?
Rihanna, your star that you have there. Her parent,
Yes.
one of the parents is from Guyana. She has Guyanese origins there.
But not only her, but the former Prime Minister of Barbados, David Thompson, his family was from Guyana.
Yes, I was told that.
That's right.
And the relationship between Guyana and Barbados is fundamental. A Williams family came, I'm told, from a district in Mike that that's in that. But the Burnham family are populate an area in my constituency. And they're well known to us.
Right. Very interesting.
Sir, I want to thank you very much. You've been a very gracious guest. I think we have been very gracious hosts. We insist that our pepper pot is better, and the bread is better, and the rum is better. I also would want to say, on behalf of Kaichur News, Kaichur Management, Kaichur Radio, that we'd want to invite you back. I think he would have gone. But thank you very much, sir. If you're listening, we'd want to invite you back here when you come to Guyana to visit our radio here and be a guest again. So, some very interesting things, some very hard-hitting statements here from the former Prime Minister. But let's not forget that he is also the chair of the observers group for Commonwealth, and so we'd have to dissect it. It is going to be interesting to see what are some of the reactions and to get the reactions from not only the opposition but of course from the coalition side with regards to what one of the forward thinkers, one of the leaders within the Caribbean is saying about what is transpiring in Guyana. Some of your thoughts, Yog.
Look, the former Prime Minister has made some very, very profound statements. We cannot undermine or underestimate the value of what he has said. Let me just recap two or three of them, Leonard. He spoke to the Commonwealth as being, I don't know if many people know, the Commonwealth includes 54 countries. It's not just a small, Caribbean kind of thing. It's much wider than that. And so the eyes of the Commonwealth is, of course, in Guyana. He was very, very, very outspoken, Leonard, on what he believes ought to be the next step here, and that is for GCOM to declare these elections. And he said that had GCOM done what was supposed to have been done in the first place, release those SOPs, use those SOPs for a declaration, all of this nightmare would not have happened. He also said that the elections were credible, and that what needs to happen is that those who are unhappy with the result that must be announced should file an election petition and go to the court where it belongs. So those are some of the things in summary that he said. Among many other things, he did draw attention to the fact, because Leonard, we have seen a lot of people say, well, CARICOM can go, we don't need CARICOM and this and that. And he reminded us, CARICOM is headquartered in Guyana.
Yes. There's a point that was made.
Mm-hmm. So that is a very important thing. CARICOM is headquartered here. We said bye-bye CARICOM. Well, they're going to rip out their roots from here and go elsewhere. But the dangers that would have been mentioned from the get-go. Remember when Mia Motley was here? Remember thereafter you and I had Sir James in room 592. Remember we had Sir Ronald. had one leader or the other, and they have all consistently said elections were held properly. All the problems you had, there was a route to take your problems. And now all of these vitriol and all of these things that he's called Mr. Harmon's name, and we have seen Mr. Harmon's postings and releases. They're attacking Caribbean leaders. And this is where a politician, not a government, a politician from within a party has really, really put his own party in a very backward light. And that is a sad thing.
Yes, I thank you for that. So, Yog, it is gonna the next couple of hours. I know that people are gonna split this interview apart. They're gonna be taking it because we have been talking. Ralph Gonsalves came out with a statement, and he would have said what he had to say. But there seems to be an increase in incidences of statements by CARICOM leader, rightfully so. Maybe CARICOM headquarters is in Guyana. They are worried about what is happening here. Two sides to every story, though. The coalition was here yesterday, two representatives. Of course, we know it is very that they think the two of them, Ganesh Mahipal as well as Daniel Siram, would have stuck to their guns as to what they believe would have transpired. Of course, there's the other side of it, in which everybody is saying, provide the evidence, and have they provided the evidence? The evidence will be up for consideration, or the lack thereof, before the GCOM commission within the next couple of days. Tomorrow, we're not sure what is going to happen tomorrow. Let's say that the Chief Elections Officer, Kit Lowenfield, hands over that report tomorrow. Do we expect the considerations or the contemplation of that report to start tomorrow?
Yes, the moment he hands in his report, GCOM will have to look at it. GCOM's next thing is, after looking at it, they will instruct him to prepare his final report. And thereafter, GCOM will have those 3 days upon which to make a declaration. So the moment Lowenfield has finished, now Leonard, I just wish to interject this in this position here. Yesterday, day before yesterday, both you and I have highlighted the following. Mr. Lowenfield on March 13th took 1 day, and he completed his final report. 1 day. Now 5 days have passed since the recount has been finished. We still don't know when that report will be issued to GCOM. To his credit, I must say this, because we need to be very objective here. To his credit, when he took that 1 day, all he had to do was to look at the tabulations, look at the numbers, and hand it to GCOM. Now, in the current scenario, he also has to summarize the observations. And those two-part report will go to the commission. So it is expected, though, that in very short order, I think everybody is expected that to happen today and tomorrow. And thereafter, GCOM, don't forget, CARICOM observer report also has to be tabled. But I wish to say, CARICOM observer report can be tabled, but GCOM does not necessarily have to heed CARICOM observer report.
Absolutely, Yog. So now that was a very interesting, very hard-hitting interview. I would want to bring you to this evening, because this evening there's something going to be major in Kaicho Radio as well. And so, Yog, you tell us a little bit that it's going to be in room 592.
Yeah, this evening it so happens that today we have the former Prime Minister of Barbados, and tomorrow we have, tonight we have Mr. Irfan Ali, President-elect Irfan Ali, in room 592. And the topic we have with Dr. Irfan Ali, of course, is 2020 and beyond. Because one has to start. If nobody in the incumbent wants to start talking about the future, we, the people, have to start talking about future. Where do we see Guyana, and how quickly can we put all of these nightmares behind us and work towards building a Guyana again that everyone can be proud of? And certainly, I know that we are going to challenge Dr. Ali to talk about a lot of things, including how inclusive his government will be, how much does he plan to ensure that his government will be a government for all the peoples, and what does he say to all the persons who stand strong and solidly against him on both a personal and political basis. So it will be an interesting night, Leonard, and indeed a lot of persons are calling us to expand it because it's that type of discussion we'll have tonight. But we are going to see how we go with it tonight.
Well, let's see how it goes. I don't think Mr. Glenn Lal, who has been allowing us graciously to extend the program more and more, we have been doing it because it is needed in Guyana. So I am thinking if we need the extra time, and of course, let me take this opportunity to to also continuously extend our invitation to the coalition. The seat is here, the seats are here, the Zoom accounts are here. You could call us on the phone, do whatever, but call us and let us hear. We want to hear the other side of the story. We have had a couple of sides. There's been some sporadic kind of incidents that they've been coming to the station or calling in, but it's more often in the case that they have not been responding. We have written the president, David Granger, in addition to Dr. Irfan Ali, for interviews with Kaicho Radio and, of course, with Room 592. He has responded positively to Room 592, and he's going to be here this evening. We are continuing to extend the invitation to President David Granger and others to come on, use the opportunity to make a case, to say your side, so the people could make their decision. In the meantime, the big decision that we are looking to at the moment is GCOM, with regards to how soon could they make the declaration. They have until the 16th, we understand. Tomorrow is going to be the key day. So, Jorg, in the meantime, let me have a just quick look. We apologize. We are going to open the lines in a very short while.
Well, Leonard,
yes.
if I may very quickly make this comment. So tonight we have Dr. Irfan Ali coming on to Room 592, and here is where the difference is now being set. You and I could have continued to reach out to the PPPC's members of their slate to come on this program, but no, we all reached out from Kaicho Radio to President Granger and to Dr. Irfan Ali to come, because we have to stop listening to the same rhetoric over and over and over again. If any coalition person comes again, what new can they say? I am seeing people with a lot of, instead of educational certificates on their walls, some kind of dead certificate on their walls. I don't know the veracity of it. They have not necessarily been the most honest persons on earth to trust them or to distrust them. So if, yes, indeed, like you, we're consistently inviting coalition persons to come onto the program as well as Room 592. But I would like to encourage, when we have these discussions, let it be at par. If we have Leonard Gildari coming to talk on behalf of a political party, let's have somebody from another political party as well, appearing to listen and make balance, and you and I can balance the program.
Yes, well, that is indeed the perfect scenario. The problem is that we have not even been receiving an acknowledgement to some of these requests. But the floor is open, the speakers are here, the mics are here, Yog, and so the people want to hear. If they don't want to come, there's very little, but we encourage them. It's not too late. It is here, and that's what the radio is for. It's we just the facilitators on that. Kaichor News today, June the 12th, 2020. Guyana collects $35 million for second oil lift by Shell. Natural resource fund now holds 94.9, almost 95 million US dollars. And this would be taken into context, is Guyana broke or not last night. Very interesting. If you missed it, Room 592 would have had some experts talking about whether Guyana is bankrupt or not, and what is bankruptcy if you're talking about the country. Very interesting. If you missed it, Kaichur Radio on Facebook, you could be able to go to that lead headline. Incoming CARICOM chair. This is Rav Gonzalez, tele-election loser. Take your licks like a man. PNCR calls on CARICOM to distance itself from its comments. So that is why you would have had today former Bajan Prime Minister Owen Arthur standing by Rav Gonzalez, generally talking, he is quite within what he's saying there. Nandlal withdraws contempt case against Mingo Orders. Court imposes $450,000 cost. Mr. Nandlal, Anna Nandlal, would have been on radio here last evening, stating that he is preparing to file other cases, and so maybe we could talk a little about that. Yog, constitutional reform should be high on agenda after final declaration, British High Commissioner to Guyana. And this is something we've been talking about. Cannot move forward with this country. There's holes in the constitution or weaknesses that we now see in many parts that are being exploited, that has basically halted the operations of this country, left it in a big hole. The PPP wants Top Cop to investigate incitement of violence on social media. So some very big headlines there. Yog, there's something the people of Guyana, our very loyal listeners, our viewers have been with us since 3 months now. And you and I spoke yesterday based on the number of texts that we would have been receiving, number of calls to our personal phones. Many people are really struggling to get by day to day. And you and I would have been looking at it, as well as Mr. Glenn Lal. Glenn is doing his own little thing, but we have decided to go in a particular direction. I would tell you that for 10 years now, myself and family, we have a little foundation. We don't really advertise it. We do our work very quietly every month with Food for the Poor and a couple of other organization donors and so on. And you see, I've been told with my people who are on the ground working very hard, to the Guyana Pride Foundation, hello to you guys, and they're telling us that it's really tough on the ground. The people are turning up. Would you imagine that a headmistress has been turning up for help? Would you imagine that, Yog? That is indeed the fact. And so we have people from all walks of life calling us, asking us for help. So guess what? Today, Dr. Yog Mahadi and myself, we have gotten a couple of gifts. And maybe Yog could come up with a mechanism. I've been trying to bang my head in to come up with something that we could probably give it to a couple of people who are deserving of it, who most needed it. And as in the next couple of days, I'm going to go hold Glenn hands behind his back and see whether he could come on board with it. He's been doing his things quietly. We have not been saying anything, but I think we should give back to our people in a little ways that we can. Of course. So maybe if you have some ideas how we could do this, today has to be a lucky day for a couple of our people. Let's do that. It's time to give back.
Of course. And, persons, you can send us a WhatsApp message or call in, call in and request a private talk. Leave us your numbers. So far, we must say to Leonard that a couple of persons did call in onto this show and they requested some personal help, and by God's grace, we were able to give that kind of help to them. So certainly we can continue along that path.
Yeah, so we will try to do that. So let's figure out a way. You could either text us, and I guess we assess, just give us a little synopsis of or a little description of your circumstance with a number, and we could probably give you a call immediately after the show here, and see how we could be able to give you some assistance there. There's just limited amount today in terms of those care packages or hampers, whatever you want to call it, but some nice things. So we want to do that. So don't call us in on the program and tell us. Just send us a text. We're going to get it. 622-622-222. You could send us a text to that number there. And right now, we are going to go straight to the phone lines, Yog. 226. And
Leonard.
Yes, Yog.
Yeah, go on. Announce the number, please.
226-7453. 226-7453. The lines are going to be open now, and you could text us any comments that you want to make with regards to what is happening in the country, elections, COVID, whatever it is that's bothering you. We want to hear from you. The radio is yours. Glenn Lal only owns the radio. Yeah. He doesn't control it. The people, it belongs to you people. So 622-222 or 226-7453. Call us on 226-7453. There's a caller online. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good afternoon to you two gentlemen.
Good afternoon, sir.
First of all, I would like to congratulate you gentlemen for a wonderful and amazing job you guys have been doing Last night for the past few nights I've been following up the Room 592 program, and last night actually I don't get to tap into the exact timing of the program. I will do it after 9. I have other work. I will go to YouTube when Mr. Young would have posted those videos up, and I would have sat down, listened to those programs. They were so much informed. We as Guyanese, we were informed on how our money was being spent. And that is so amazing to know. And what is the most shocking thing is that we are having this information coming from a private entity. And we as a Guyanese people, we're paying, our tax dollars are paying for a government entity, which is the Department of Political Information, where we don't have this information coming. And secondly, in regards to whichever government goes in, I would just like to congratulate you guys for what you're doing. We need to do the same thing. We need to know how our money being spent. It is we are the people of Guyana who are working hard in the sun. We don't sit in AC air condition as a government. We don't have fancy vehicle. We're working very hard. We're paying our tax. And we demand as a people to know how our money is being spent, how it is being spent, for what purpose, and for what reason. We're working hard, and our politicians are getting our benefit. We as the Guyanese people will demand. This is not the 90s and the 1960s and the 70s. This is the 21st century, and I would like to congratulate Kaiser News, who have been on the forefront to educate Guyanese about these things. And you guys continue to do a wonderful job. Guyanese are waking and they are behind, and we are more informed than ever before. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much, the caller. And Yog, maybe you want some quick responses?
Yes. Well, thank you so much. I mean, we appreciate it, and we certainly hope to continue. But Leonard, I just want to segue off to something. I've been I've been talking about this almost every day, and I want to raise this to the people of Guyana. Every passing day, this incumbent set of politicians, the squatter government, I call them, and mind you, that's my personal view. That's not necessarily Kaichori's view. The squatter government, they are spending taxpayers' money, and they are spending it on the rag. If you look at what the rag is publishing every day, it is getting beyond worrying. It is inflammatory. And the rag, for those of you who don't know, I call the Guyana Chronicle, it's the rag. That's all you can do with it. It's a rag. It's dirt. So, Leonard, here is what the problem is. Today's Chronicle, you know what has occupied the front page of today's Chronicle? That the taxpayers are paying them for. We are paying all the employees. We are paying the board of the Chronicle. We are paying all of them, the Department of Political Information. Guess what is on the front page of Chronicle? Ralph jumps the gun. A whole big portrait of Mr. Ralph Gonsalves, and listen to this. APNO AFC and PNCR slams St. Vincent Prime Minister for seeking to direct GCOM. Nothing about the rest of the country, nothing about the other parties and what their views are. This paper that is called a state paper is only carrying the views of APNO AFC and PNCR. This is paramountcy of the state. It's where the political party is now taking control of state assets. And that is a pass to the Guyanese people, and it has to stop. And I would like to say, it is time that people of this country, I don't care who steps into government, you need to remove all the subsidies from state entity, from state media. Let the private media run this country. As Jennifer says, defund the Chronicle, defund the Department of Political Information. This waste of taxpayers' money has to stop, Leonard. And you know why I'm so angry about it? Whilst they're publishing this trash, people in this country are starving. Private entities got to share out food stuff. There are people that needs help and can't get it.
Absolutely, dear. Dr. Yog Mahadir, there's a caller online. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air. Yes.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
How are you, gentlemen?
Yes, you're on to Kaicho Radio. Go ahead.
Yeah, you was talking earlier about going forward. As I see it, I'm saying President Irfanali. Now, what I'm worried about is that when he goes into office, what will happen with those 19 charges? And the other thing is, if the charges go forward, suppose he's convicted. I'm listening to your comment on that.
Okay, thank you very much, caller. Thank you for that call. Yog, you want to wade right into that?
Yes, not a problem at all. Look, there are a couple of things I'd like to say to the caller and to everyone. Whether you like Irfan Ali or not, the electorate has elected him to be the president of the country. The president cannot, it's a charge that is made before his presidency, and as president, he cannot interfere with the court. So if the courts decide to proceed or not to proceed, that's a matter of jurisdiction of the court. I want to just say this, and this is not in defense to Irfan Ali, Leonard. This is being as pragmatic as we can be. Look, there were charges leveled against Irfan Ali as a person. However, those charges were made on Irfan Ali when Irfan Ali was a member of the cabinet and was instructed by a cabinet to carry out cabinet decisions. Let me put it in perspective. When Winston Jordan was charged by the court, right? What did Mr. Granger do? He immediately pardoned Winston Jordan, not allowing the court to have its way. My view, that is something that will have to be discussed in another way by having some lawyers present. With regards to Mr. Irfan Ali, my position as a citizen of this country, whether you like him or not, he is elected as the president of this country. We have to find a way to work. Let the courts do what they have to do. Let whatever institution do what they have to do. He knows best what he can say or what he can do about it. I am not going to say anything about that. However, what I do know is that if the PPP comes back into office, Leonard, and they do not perform well, the electorate will speak again and will speak resoundingly, like what they did in 2015 and like how they did in 2020. No two ways about it.
Absolutely, there, Yog, and I think the caller has a point there. Sooner or later, we'd have to get, because it's the elephant in the room, we'd have to get some experts on here. What happens if an Ali in office as president and the court hands a conviction to him? What happens in the case, and it goes all the way to CCJ, and they uphold that
But mind my, and this is my opinion that they said, mind my opinion.
Yes, sir.
That whether he conducted those things of what he's being accused of on a personal basis, or he was a servant of the state in conducting those. Those are the kind of things. A lot of political hype has been made about a lot of things in this country. So we have to know that whenever we listen to political accusations and political commentary, we have to let logic rule, and we have to take an analytical look at what's happening. And this is in no way as a defense to him. What I'm saying, if something applies one way, it has to apply in another way.
Absolutely, Yoga. Thank you very much. There's another caller online. Good afternoon, caller. You're in the air.
Afternoon. Must stand up like a man and let them stop crying like yours. They lose the last election, let them go along the way, man. Or finally, the next president.
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Let me be facetious. So, sir, we can't criticize the girls. Not all the girls cry, big men cry too, and it's good to cry sometimes. But he mentioned something very good. Leonard, all I have heard for the past 106 days is cry, cry, cry.
Who's crying,
This is a set of cry babies. One day they cry about this, the other day they cry about that. They cried about one thing or the other. And today they're crying about another thing. Today they're crying that children went to vote. I mean, we are getting to the point of absurdity. But let me say this, Leonard, somebody sent me this text, and let me remind you, we have let me say hello to Anand Gangadine on behalf of Kaito Radio and all of our viewers from Minnesota. Let me say hello to our viewers in Canada, New York, to Ravi in Canada, of course, to our viewers from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Suriname, Barbados, and St. Vincent. All of these people sending texts to say they're watching from these countries.
All over the place.
Yes.
So thank you.
Leonard,
Yes.
we gotta look at, and this is one of the questions that I think we need to ask President-elect Ali tonight. What's his vision? What is his vision for a future Guyana that is today so divided, and so divided not necessarily out of born facts, but out of political spin? And how is he prepared to deal with it? The final thing I'll say is a lot of people I'm hearing, and you know what? I have said it. If you check my Facebook page, I criticize. If the PPPC could have found $34 million to pay Mercury, right? And you know, I question why not use the money to help people in this country. But then guess what? 96 million was paid by the PNCR and the AFC for JJB and JJB LLC. So you're hearing one side, oh, they paid 34 million to Mercury or whoever did what, but you're not hearing the other side that almost 100 million was paid. And I want Mr. Auditor General to really check the books of this country, because I want to ensure that in the future, taxpayers' money must not be used for these kinds of political gains.
Well, I'm not sure, but I need to borrow money from somebody, and I'm not sure who has money. You have money to lend, Yog?
Well, you know, Guyana don't. No, sir, I don't. Last night we learned that all of the persons in Guyana, they're funding the government. The government has borrowed money from the central bank. The money came from the commercial banks, and the money from the commercial banks came from your and my little $2 savings we got. Our money is now tied up. If this government fails, we're dead.
And that's a bad thing.
That's the vicious circle we're in.
That's a bad thing. A lot of people talking about dead lately. But if you're now joining us, elections and COVID-19 watch here on Kaito Radio 99.1, 99.5. And if you've missed the show last night on room 592, you could go to our Kaito Facebook page, Kaito Radio Facebook page. You could get it there, or you could go to YouTube Kaito Radio. You could get it there also. And if you want to join us also, there's another way that you could get us. That is Kaito News Online. You see the radio icon there, and you just press it and you get onto us. There's another caller online. Good afternoon, caller. You on the air?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I'm a regular listener to your program. I will have two questions. Could you say if the police is going to do any investigation regarding the damages to documents that was said recently in the Ministry of Finance? And two, the caller who called on the President, Mr. Ali, regarding the charges, I don't think he did anything. If you're working under senior officers or ministers, you have to carry out your functions.
Yes.
So I'm most interested in wondering if there are going to be charges regarding those damages to property, people's property documents that were destroyed in the Ministry of Finance. I'll listen to you after. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. I'm not sure, based on the report that we would have seen, I don't think the police have issued a conclusion or the findings of whether the ministry, I'm not sure, did it become a criminal issue, Yoke, that the police were investigating, or was it...
Well, we don't have any information. I mean, nothing. Rather than have Mr. Gonzalez's picture on the front page of the RAG, have you seen anything from the RAG addressing the taxpayers' concerns about the flooding of the ministry and whether it was accidental or what is happening with that investigation? Has the police even been called in? You know, no information is coming out, Leonard. I don't know. I don't know if you know.
I don't know, but somebody's asking the question. Was it 34 million US dollars and 96 million US dollars? What is it exactly?
Look, there is a company called Mercury. If you check my Facebook page, you would see the contract. I shared it there because it's available from, or go to us.gov or something like that. You go to that website, you can find the contract that the PPP signed with a lobbying firm in the US. I think it was 2-3 years ago. I can't remember when. The PPP signed with a lobbying firm to basically to carry out their educational will or their educational drive. It's like you employ somebody to market your good name, your goodwill. And so what we do know happens, so that has taken place a couple of years ago. And as of this year, what we do know is that the ACNO AFC signed a contract. First, it was the government of Guyana. They signed a contract with JJB LLC, another lobbying firm in the US, for $90 odd million, almost $100 million, that also sought to do the same. And so, all of these people would have gotten their work cut out for them in the US. Mind you, a lot of the interest of a number of persons who signed these contracts are in America, not in Guyana. I want to make sure I say that, because it's passing strange that the first contract that was signed recognizing Mr. Harmon as a U.S. citizen. I haven't heard a word to debunk that. And those are the kind of things. But to the point of the question you read there, it is lobbying firms in the U.S. that were employed or contracted by the political parties to promote their own goodwill and their own spin narrative.
I think it was whether the amounts that you mentioned, whether it's a 34 million US dollars and a 96 million US dollars. I think that was the question.
Yes.
It's 34 million
I will get the exact figure just now in a couple of minutes.
Thank you very much, dear. There's another caller online. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, sir. You're on the air. Kaicho Radio.
Good afternoon, Mr. Leonard and Dr. Yo. I guess the two of you might as well know me now because I've been looking at your program every single day. Again, let me extend my sentiment by congratulating both of you, comrades. But quickly, one of the callers who called and were saying that he's very fearful of our president-elect, Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, about those charges was filed against him, what will happen. Since 2018, December, we had a no confidence motion was passed in the Parliament of Guyana. We have seen that Mr. Granger and his minister has been breaching the Constitution and violate the Constitution of this country and claim to deny it bold and barefacedly. Also, Mr. Leonard and Dr. Yoke, we have seen state money, taxpayer money, has been misspent and spent wrongfully. And people must not stifle their conscience to look and to be one-sided. If someone is being held accountable for something that he or she did do wrongfully, they must be held accountable for that. But we must not be one-sided. We must be looking what is happening in this country and what for ministers of this country, there were ministers, no more ministers, what they are doing to this country, what they are doing with the taxpayer money, as Dr. Yoga has been emphasizing every day in that, Leonard. And I want to say to you and Dr. Yoga, I'm listening to you about the gifts you all are talking about swearing out. Brothers, I'm praying for you, the two of you, and I pray that God will give you long life and you will continue to do the good work. And I want to say thanks to Mr. Glenn Lal of Kaicher News for allowing you all to be here and to enlighten the Guyanese people what is happening. Continue to do the good work, Dr. Yo, Mr. Leonard. Long live to you and your family, and we must pray for this country. Let us put this country on the map. Let us put this country forward, and we urge Mr. Lewinfield and Justice Gladys Singh that the people are waiting. The people are waiting patiently for a result and to declare the winning party. And as I said, I'm an activist of a party. I am on the ground watching my party, and I will ensure that my party deliver what they have promised. Thank both of you, comrade, and take care. God bless you.
Thank you very much. Put Guyana first. That is a message. Yog, there's a comment here. I think the new government should review the salaries of the members of parliament. It is too high. It needs to be pulled down. Your comments, please. I'm not sure, Yog. The last parliament, we know that it was troubled, very troubled. 2018 December was when that no confidence motion. But before that, when we would have looked at the performance of the National Assembly, Parliament, you want to talk about that, the number of sit-ins and the work that they would have been able to do, we would have been able to see some figures, 1.5 million US dollar, sorry, 1.5 million Guyana dollars. Every time there's a sitting in Parliament, there's not easy money. And what did we achieve during the last Parliament? Are we overpaying the parliamentarians? Should parliamentarians be paid? I understand that you come in from out of the regions and so on, but when you signed up for this thing should not be a job. It should be service to the people. So money can't be the number one thing that you really going for elections and you say you want to represent the people. It's a service to the people, and so maybe we need to relook at that. Who are the people that are really running? Are they really after the money that is being paid there? Maybe it's something. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. Maybe we could look at it another way. What are some of your thoughts, Yog? It's an interesting question.
Yeah. A couple of things. One is that, you remember Teddy Jagan, I think, said something. This is not a direct quote, but he would have said something. You can't live in a donkey cart economy and expect to live a Cadillac lifestyle. So the truth is that we must pay what we can afford. Now, one has to juxtaposition that with the following. If a person, let's say any of our sons and daughters, if my son studies and invests his time, takes loan, invests his time and studies and gets a certificate, gets himself qualified, one would expect, and he would expect, to be paid for his service. So there needs to be a benchmark for professional services. And one would find that the rate at which ministers are being paid compared to, let's say, chief operating officer in a private company. So those kinds of benchmark you have to look at. Responsibility should have, a pay that would ensure that their responsibility is catered for. In other words, you are a public servant, but you have to maintain your family, you have to maintain all of that. Here is where it got a little upside down in Guyana. We are paying salaries to our public servants, ministers. Let's take the ministers of government. Let's take the Prime Minister's office, for example. If you're paying the gentleman $1 million, if you're paying him $1 million salary per month, and you're giving him a car, you're giving him a driver, you're giving him a maid or two, you're giving him a gardener or two. In other words, he has no expense. You're paying his electricity, you're paying his telephone, you're paying everything. Then all of that, when you say he's receiving a salary of $1 million, it is understated, because you have to look at his total remuneration. And that's the kind of figures and that's the kind of transparency I think we must demand from the next government of this country. We need to have your total remuneration package, not just your dollars, the total you're paid in terms of salary. Don't forget, people who sit in National Assembly, their medical expenses are being paid for. So all of this comes from the taxpayer. The caller is quite right. We need to look at things, and you need to look at things from the perspective of, equality. On top of it all, Leonard, there are certain salaries in this country that are tax-free. Like, let's take, for example, the GRA. The head of GRA is receiving a fantastic salary to do his job, but he pays no tax.
So these are things that has to be looked at. We are continuously pushing for a review of these issues. People are paying attention, Yoga, and they're talking, they're watching, and in service of the people, politicians take note, in service of the people. There's another caller in line. Good afternoon, caller, you're on the air.
Yes, Mr. Gilday.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes. I'm one of the...
Yes, go ahead, sir. Did we lose a call? I think, sorry with that, we have lost that call. Yog, and so I think
just to insert this, so those 34 million and 90 something million, those are Guyana dollars. The US dollars would have been 150,000 US, and 480,000.
All Guyana dollars.
Yeah, the 34 million and the 96 million would have been Guyana dollars.
Thank you very much for that. There's another caller online. Good afternoon, caller. You're on the air. Could you lower your volume on your radio, please? Hello? Yes, we'd have to cut that call. Our
But
apologies for
Leonard,
that. Yes.
meanwhile, going back to government expenses, right? Last night, Mr. Danraj Singh shared in our discussion on finances, and let me say this to everybody so they must know. In 2015, the monies allocated in the budget to the Ministry of Presidency was $3 billion. 3 billion B with a B, $3 billion to the Ministry of Presidency in 2015, right? In 2019, it moved to 12 billion. $12 billion just for the Ministry of Presidency. Now, we do know that a number of ministries operate out of the Ministry of Presidency. The point I think everybody wants to know is that there must be full disclosure of everything. I would like to see the day come when the ministers' salaries are fully disclosed to the public, because you know what? It's not your salary being paid for by the state. Your salary is being paid for by the sweat, blood, and tears of the taxpayers who break their back to work every day in the fields and in the offices to pay their salaries.
You know, and you saying that, and you and I have been saying that over the last couple of weeks, because as you say it over and over, it starts sinking in. I don't think people really get the memo, Yoga. And why? What do I mean by that? The politicians are our employees. We are the employer. So if you put them there, if you hire them, you can fire them. Isn't that logical? So
correct.
Let us be very, very clear. The people of Guyana, with their very vote, they have become employees of the politicians, of our ministers, of our permanent secretaries, of the rest of them. We have a right to demand via the Freedom of Information Act and so on to be able to get information that we want. We should be able to know what Yog Mahadio, as an executive officer at a state agency, let's say Guy Oil, what he's earning. We want to know why he's driving a BMW and a Mercedes-Benz, and his salary is $500,000.
Correct.
And so we have to ask, we have to be able to start understanding that the memo has been sent out, that we have the right to ask those questions. It was sent out a long time back, ever since we introduced the voting in Guyana. There's another caller online. Good afternoon, caller, you're on the air. Yes, good afternoon, caller, you're on the air. I think we would have lost that. So yes, it's a good day. You're now joining us. Elections. Yes, go ahead. Good afternoon, sir.
Again, I'm with you from the MMA fields in the background.
Yes, sir.
I would like to add my bit this afternoon in calling all Guyanese, let us respect the ruling, and more so, the APNU AFC supporters. In my opinion, it is clear that the PPP have won the election. The numbers don't lie. The numbers is showing clear that the PPP have won this election. I would like to also encourage you and Yog, I have said this on your program before, if you can continue doing some of this, if not every day or in the evening, this will help to promote checks and balance, what you're doing here, and also educate the people of this country. You have done a fantastic job over the past, and today is no exception, having Mr. Owen Arthur on your program. All Guyanese can hear for himself. I have made an observation in regards to Mr. Owen Arthur presentation. And, you know, in local term or grassroots language, we can say, me can beat me picnic, but nobody can beat me picnic, right? Mm-hmm. Now, what he has said, and, you know, it's very, very disgraceful right now what's happening in Guyana. He has said it clear, loud and clear, that Guyana have become a mocking stock or a laughing stock for the world. The entire world is looking at us, and if any of our leaders who is opposing to these numbers that we're seeing in this recount and the election, then let good sense prevail. The APNO AFC have lost the election, they can go and retool, rethink, regroup, and there will always be a next chance for them. But what they're doing, they're only messing themselves up. There will be no opportunity there. Every bit of opportunity that was left for them is slipping out of their hand gradually. And I don't know if they're not seeing this. We need good opposition also. And what they're doing there will not promote them to be good opposition, because they have made bad friendship with the international community. They have made bad friendship with CARICOM. Who will you go and complain to if you need to let's say, pull PPP government up for something? That is my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And it's a very good point that he has raised there. We should be paying very close attention to our relationship with our partners, CARICOM, Commonwealth, the EU, ABC countries. They've been with us, and so yes, we may not agree with some of the things that is transpiring in their country. Could we put aside our relationship with them? It's something that needs to be to do some deep thinking, and we'd have to look at how long we would have had relationship with China, India. We don't agree with China and the aggression in expanding throughout the world and the way that they go about doing business in Guyana. Do we stop doing business with them altogether? These are things that we have to think about. What we could do is say, Yog, you're not welcome in my house. If you're walking in with your shoes every single day, I leave my shoes outside. You have to leave your shoes outside too. So there are things that we could do differently. I'm not going to allow you if you put on. I'm not saying for you not to come into my house. I'm saying that you can't come in with the shoes. It's simple. That's my rules. So I'm not sure if you want to respond to that. What CARICOM say?
Well, yes, because here is what. To say that you cannot come into my house with my rules means you might as well tell people don't come into my house at all, because I am not willing to accommodate what might be your beliefs. So I think the way forward has to be that there needs to be a non-partisan. Like, for example, let's take investment in Guyana. Investment in Guyana must not be just a political office. It must be, members of a board that are non-partisan, non-politician, that will look for the good of Guyana from their own professional perspective. So there are many ways we can look at this. I'll tell you, a lot of people are throwing around words of inclusive governance and what was the other thing? Shared governance. You and I have spoken about this before. We need to educate ourselves, everybody. We all need to do so, and we're going to do it in room 591 on this program as well. What do the concepts mean, and how can governments, incorporate aspects of shared governance and inclusive governance, and what are, of course, the differences? Because one would have to question, Leonard, what will happen over the next month or two? We are already seeing, and let me say this, we're already seeing, I saw Mr. Harmon's, and I say this very clearly, unapologetically. I saw Mr. Harmon's more recent statement when he was probably talking about Mr. Edgehill's statement and Mr. Ali's statement. I was wondering whether I was listening to the concessions, he was conceding in that speech, because he certainly was conceding in that speech that he lost power. And if Mr. Harmon has conceded he lost power, then I don't know what the rest waiting for. But Mr. Harmon and Mr. Nagamoto, I feel almost sorry for Mr. Nagamoto at this stage to be getting and raising up all kinds of warfare and the kind of talk and the rhetoric they're talking about now, about public servants and raising up people's concerns. I believe there are those people who have been on a political slate. If you have been on a political slate, there's no other party other than your own that will trust you. If you're on a political slate, you need to do the decent thing and move out and move on. If you are a professional, you should not be involved in politics, and therefore you should have no fear of anybody telling you to move on and move off. Those are some very, very simple, and I believe they're practiced all around the world. What is so different in Guyana that you drum up fears in people that a new government going to take recriminating actions against you? We are going to stand up and speak out if the government does take any action against public servants. That cannot must not happen. But at the same time, if public servants have been abusing state assets, have been on a political platform, and have been part of the gerrymandering and part of this nightmare of this 100 days, then I am not, as a citizen of Guyana, going to be happy to see them continue to be paid by me and my fellow taxpayers.
A different dispensation. There's another caller online. Good afternoon, caller. Good afternoon, caller. You on the air?
Good afternoon, Dale. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah. Hear this. Here we need, I like how the British High Commissioner come out and speak about constitutional change, because that's my concern. Now I can speak on a neutral ground again as yesterday. Now we need to get rid of this foolishness. Brian Tawari just got a contract at $800 and something million with nobody they know nothing about. Suddenly he get this contract, and then they had another 500 and something million contract. Second, prior to that contract, here with this up new government went miserably wrong with the people. Aubrey Norton, who is a member, rent a building, and even before the person could, the building wasn't the person building, he gave the person the money to rent this building, and they lay back. They didn't do anything about it. But listen to the bomber that we need to get rid of, and the fear that lies upon the next bench. It shows this nation clear. I want Yoke, my friend Yoke, because I love Yoke spirit. I want you to explain to me in which country in the world will we see here happen with Infanali and Nandalal when their cases keep pushing back. They have influence into the court system, and this is where the fear lie within these people that failing to give up office. This is the reality. But I want Yoke to hold on to the piece of note, because I gonna rock your foot. We got to push for constitutional change. If we had constitutional change, long ago the dark blanket would have been off for this nation. Because my concern is with you, the nation. When you in town, you asking Indian people, taxi, they jump in here. When you go in the market, they're asking you to be shopping. And they ain't got no different price, the price level. They got various supermarkets you could go in, and you see they got different prices. And anybody could go to it and buy. As you said it already, that when you're sick, you don't look at no particular person. And Dr. Infant, I personally got a problem with it. Guyana is an undeveloped country, and it have a lot of avenue to do business. And we need to move this country ahead. But this darkness is show, and then why you deal with this one, because definitely they're telling you, this is a fear that in this other country you know that shows that with Nalalal, when you have to go and let the evidence, push back. With name, push back. The system needs to be moved away. That's it. And we're dealing with this foolishness with this government. Not give out do a contract, and the contract that he do, the person never own the building. Then Brian Tawari just get a big contract. We didn't even publish in the making. Well, we didn't even show you the architect drawing. Nothing. It just float up. But these stupidness need to rearrange. But with all compromise cut.
Thank you. I think we will
have to work because we got to push for this thing.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, dear. Thank you very much, dear caller. And Yog, maybe you want to address something on that. In the meantime, let me go ahead.
Caller is right. We need to continue to beat that drum of constitutional reform. It must not be winner take all. We cannot hand over such a system to our children. We cannot. We have seen what damage it does to our nation. We have seen what damage it can do to us as a people. Today we are totally split. Now, with regards to the calls that were made about Mr. Nandalal and Mr. Irfan, I am sure, Leonard, I would probably want to invite Mr. Nandalal on one of our Room 592s to have an open discussion with him about it, because I would not be able to answer. But I would want to say this. This nation, I think I was one of the most shocked persons, because I spoke out loudly about what transpired, or what I believe transpired 2013, 2014 and before. I was shocked when this government decided to empower and make Soku and Sarah
into political tools. Now, what they did, they took pleasure in marching who and who? They marched Roger Luncheon and Vincent Brassington and with this nation ever forget those things. But guess what? You talk about Nandalal, you talk about Irfan Ali, 5 years in office, prosecute them, the man. You are in charge of the government. There matters going to the court, and your own attorney general is being told you don't have a case. Look, the DPP, everybody knows. Well, if you don't know, let me tell you. The attorney general over the past 3-4 years, Leonard, he employed a slew of attorneys. He wasn't using the DPP office as much as previously done. He employed his own bank of attorneys to take matters, to prosecute matters. Where are all of these matters? You can now come to me and say you haul Leonard in front of the courts, but Leonard has his way with the courts. I cannot allow my conscience to accept that people like Madam Roxanne George, people like Mr. Kisoon, people like the judges and magistrates in this country, especially at the higher level, I am not going to say that they have been politically influenced or directed. I have studied law, at least at a bachelor's degree level, and the one thing that I'm taught and told and I've seen is that the judiciary is independent. Look, if the judiciary was not independent, do you think what transpired over this week would have been allowed to be transpired? No, it wouldn't. So I believe that, but I also believe that this government has failed and failed in so many things, and now they don't want to accept that the consequence of their failure is to get the boot. Final thing I'll say, Leonard, when you talk about corruption and you talk about transparency, the other thing, the gentleman mentioned the contract. There are contracts that are being doled out, but that aside, there are duty-free concessions that have been taken and allowed after September 30th. Remember, September 30th was when even the CCJ said you are a caretaker government. So those are the kind of things we have to have openness for, because when you talk about remuneration packages, look, somebody just texted me to remind me that the people, the ministers and so forth, they get a brand new vehicle every 3 to 5 years. What happens after you buy another one? What happened to the first one? Does it go back to the state and being auctioned so that the state can get some money? Or do they sell it themselves and raise personal finances? All of those are things. If we want to move on as a nation, we have to have equal footing and we have to set some real strong rules.
Absolutely, and the country cannot move forward without regulations and rules. And let me tell you, a little earlier when we started today's edition, Yog, we spoke about bringing some surprises to our people. We have received dozens, literally, of texts from people, and I want to say that we're going to go through it. We're going to make contact with the people that we believe are in desperate need. We're going to be calling you guys. And so we make arrangements for those deliveries. We thank you, but it doesn't end today. We are going to continue looking at ways in which we could continuously reward our people who have been with us. But not only that, we have to start looking long term. How do we solve some of the issues in this country, bringing the experts on? Room 592 this evening. We have some very tough questions here for President-elect, if you want to say that, or the presidential candidate of the People's Progressive Party, Civic, Irfan Ali. At this moment, we're going to be very cautious until GCOM comes out and make their declaration. But in the meantime, Irfan Ali is coming here, and there's going to be some very tough questions for him, including how do we heal this country? How do you fix the economy? What do you do with the sugar industry? I think the sugar workers would want to hear about that, because based on the prognosis, based on what we've seen so far, it is going to be a tough call, or some tough calls would have to be made when it comes to the sugar industry in Guyana and the way forward. So, Yog, there's a caller online. Good afternoon, caller. You in the air?
Good afternoon, Leonard.
Good afternoon, sir.
There's something talking about the sugar industry. That is what I'm calling on. This guy, Tony Vera, he was one time advocating that Gaisuko should be made into tilapia farm and all that. Now he's with the PPP, who is advocating to opening the sugar industry. How would he be able to be in the same outfit when he was advocating for that all the while? Thank you.
Thank you very much. So some very good point. I'm not sure. I think some decisions would have to be made with regards to the sugar industry, and it would not be only at a political level, Yog. Not at the political level only.
Correct. Well, Leonard, look, I mean, I have never met Mr. Tony Vera. I've never had a discussion with him. But here is what we do know, and both sides, and I want to give credit to both the PPP and APNU AFC. Look, every political party is a conglomerate or is a coming together of persons with different training, different background. They would agree and strongly disagree on various things. However, for the sake of a united front and for the sake of moving towards a strategic position, those who disagree will want to be influenced or want to be educated that this is the better way to go. So that is a very good call that, Mr. Vera may have had differing opinion, but now if he's joined the PPP slate, I do hope that the PPP would certainly educate him as to what has to happen. But don't forget, sir, and ladies and gentlemen, when we're talking about sugar, we're not talking about sugar workers alone, We're talking about $1 billion to the NIS. We're talking about drainage and irrigation. We're talking about propping up this country.
Foreign exchange, taxes, right?
Yeah, we're talking about, as Ramesh Prasad said last night, the velocity of money. We're talking about empowering people to do things. And we're also talking that you let 10,000 workers go home without even thinking about an alternate job. In your mind, you're satisfied. I paid them a severance. I paid somebody $200,000, and that's a severance. And if they're 40 years old and they got to live another 40 years, a man, his wife, and 2 children, 4 persons must live for the next 40 years and do whatever they got to do to maybe sell planting chips. But if we all sell planting chips, who's going to buy it?
I don't know. The person who's selling cassava chip? I don't know. There's a caller online. Good afternoon, caller.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Pretty good, sir. Go ahead.
Now we're speaking about elections, Terry. And what about this COVID? I heard the airport is going to open the 1st of July. Do you think that is a wise thing to do, seeing that the alarming cases are in Brazil and Region 9? How do you protect that?
Okay. Any other questions? Could we answer off here?
No problem. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, dear caller. Very good question. COVID-19 is really taking a back seat, but I guess, Yog, we have to look at, we have to come back and look at it in a very decisive way, this COVID-19 and what is happening. What I could tell you, based on talks, I've been talking to a lot of the decision makers within Guyana, and what we're seeing, it's not going to go away for the time being. We've seen new cases coming up. We've seen a couple of days, maybe a lull. We've seen in neighboring Brazil that situation is not dying down. So while you might be hearing reports coming from North America and the other places in the drop in cases, number of cases in the region here, Brazil has become the epicenter of this continent, and we're part of it, and we have open borders. So we'd have to look at that. The opening of the airport, I'm not sure whether there's a wise decision at this point in time. We have continuously shifted the goalposts when it comes to making decisions, not only decisions on the borders and then the airport and so on, but in the way we do things and implement them, the way we enforce the regulations when it comes to COVID-19. So there are many questions there. I presume there has to be moved pretty quickly in keeping with what the Dr. Yog Mahathir and others would have been calling for, which is we should have a cross-section of society in a non-political COVID-19 task force and do that as early as possible. Yesterday, last week, that should have been implemented, not today, tomorrow. So that has to be done pretty quickly. Yog, very quickly.
Well, Leonard, what do you expect? Look, I mean, you have the politicians in charge of a national health crisis. So they're only going to make political decisions. They're making decisions to suit themselves. No two ways about it. With regards to the opening of the airports, we have heard, we see the United States, for example, slowly opening up back. We know that Trinidad is presently giving their teachers special stipend to keep the education system, to get the children prepared for exams. We're not hearing anything locally here. With regards to the opening of the airport, I would want to say, Leonard, the airport and opening of the ports, it's something that government need to strategically look at. I am not opposed to the airports reopening, providing we're all going to ensure that there are serious protocols in place and those protocols are followed to the T, followed literally. Because remember, a lot of our brothers and sisters, Guyanese people are overseas, they're stranded. There are people stranded in Jamaica. Fodedin, our cricketer, is stranded in Jamaica as we speak with a group of persons. There are still persons stranded in the US, all over. So they need to come home, but we need to have protocols in place. About COVID, Leonard, when last you have heard the government say anything about COVID?
That is true from the task force level. So this evening, elections and COVID-19 watch. We are coming down to a close to this edition. Unfortunately, it's really been a big pleasure, as it has been for the last couple of weeks. What I could tell you this evening, it is a must-watch program. If you care about this country and you care about what our leaders have planned for this country, it is going to be the presidential candidate of the People's Progressive Party, Civic, in room 592, being hosted by Dr. Yog Mahathir, and along with myself as co-host, Leonard Gildari. Yog, very quickly, maybe in a synopsis, what could you say to Guyana, to the people who are listening with regards to what is expected to come from that interview, some of the questions?
We are certainly hoping to ask Dr. Irfan Ali a couple of questions pertaining to a couple of things that were raised on this program here, Leonard. Over the past week or so, we have discussed that how a new government's priority has to probably be re-examined. What they had in their manifestos may not necessarily now be priority number 1, 2, and 3, given that COVID is here, given that the economy has a $92 billion deficit. Remember, your deficit in the economy is much higher than the amount of money you got, the oil money, the 90-something million dollars you got overseas. So we want to ask him this. We know that he has a financial background. We want to ask him that. We want to talk about infrastructure. We want to talk about his vision, 2020 and beyond. What does Dr. Irfan Ali see as to be the priorities for his government getting into office? And especially, how are we going to heal Guyana? What are his views for that?
Absolutely, Yog, and I'm very interested. I think most important for me is how do we heal this country, and so that is going to be in room 592, 7:30 p.m. sharp. It's been a hot couple days and nights when it comes to elections and COVID-19 watch here on Kaito Radio, and of course room 592, the decisive information center when it comes to analyzing the news, not only elections, but other happenings in our country, this beautiful country of ours. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. I can't take any more calls. We can't take any more calls at Kaito Radio. We're going to be back. Let's see how it plays out, maybe tomorrow, Monday. Let's see how it plays, Yog. We were not planning to do anything tomorrow. There's some other things happening. However, we're keeping a very close eye on elections, the Guyana Commission, and seeing whether there is going to be that handing over of that anticipated report tomorrow. And maybe, definitely you could tune into Kaito Radio 99.1, 99.5, on Facebook, Kite Radio, on YouTube, Kite Radio, or Kite News Online. You can get us there. In the meantime, with regards, we have received dozens of texts from our people, our listeners, and Yog, you and I will go through it, and we're going to choose our people. And of course, this does not end here. We want to reward more people. So this continues. We're going to be beating down some doors, calling some people, so we could help our most vulnerable. The little that we can do, we know that it's going to open the floodgates. But let's see if we could change one person's life. It would be a good thing for our country, Yog. I think, does it any other thing that you want to say, Yog, before we go?
Well, it's weekend, so I want to wish everybody a good weekend. Today is Friday, isn't it?
It is.
I just want to wish everybody
right.
a great weekend, and I want to remind everybody that as we are staying home and observing all the COVID protocols, let's ensure that we keep an eye out for each other, stay away from each other, and wash hands, keep our children safe. And I would like to extend to every child across Guyana and wherever you're joining us from, have a great weekend and ensure mommy and daddy stay safe so that you are safe.
Thank you very much, dear. My co-host, Dr. Yog Mahadio, myself, Leonard Gildari. It has been a pleasure coming to you over the last 1.5, 2 hours, 2 hours. So we're going to be back with you this evening, 7:30 p.m. sharp. It's been a pleasure. Have a pleasant rest of the day.
Chop. And here goes, I represent for 99.1 Kite Radio, the radio with a difference.